Right, where are we? Jean, are you cutting out this week?
Yes, I've got
Norma, you're cutting your skirt out, is that right? Yeah. Catherine, putting your sleeves in your jacket.
Kathleen, sorry.
Yeah. Judy, how did you get on?
Right, so if we look at initially the first cycle, as you know, Jill's a lovely lady, so when we went out to see her in the community, she was very conscious that it was going to be typical community provision.
Yeah, getting across with me.
And what she wanted to look at with me initially was, were they really learning? Because there was that, problem that you often see in community learning, where it was a great atmosphere, everybody was having a wonderful time, but is the real learning actually taking place within the sessions? Mm-hmm. So that's what we initially looked at, but throughout the video we started picking up different little aspects of our practice. Okay, Jill, you know that this is the post-coaching session, and the format that we're going to take is you've had a chance now to have a look at the video, you've had a look at the main strengths, the main weaknesses. If we remember, the focus, what we were looking at was, am I actually a teacher? Because you were a bit concerned about the nature of the community provision, whether the students were actually learning. So we'll remind ourselves of that, but then if you could just take control of the tape and take me through to the incidents that you think are significant, and talk me through basically your feelings, your initial reflections on the session. Right. Okay, you okay with that?
Yeah, fine.
Right, fire away.
Right. Right, well this is the introduction to the session. We're right at the beginning of the course. It's actually the second course, sorry, the second lesson out of a course of 10, but we haven't got the enrolments completed in the first week, so we're having to do that now. The notes I've made here, I'm using exposition and transmission, which isn't really a strategy that I use a lot because of the practical nature. But the manner I'm delivering, I'm quite clear, quite confident, giving them concise instructions. Now, I'm going through with them here some of the leaflets and things that have to be distributed, health and safety, this, that and the other. Then we're going to come on to, if I can just fast forward it a little bit, we'll come on to...
So you're happy with that? You're happy with that?
Yes, it's okay. I've got a few criticisms, particularly about this point.
Right.
As part of the required paperwork, the learners have to use an individual learning plan. Okay. On reflection, I could have done a lot more with this individual learning plan than I actually have.
Okay. How do you think you could have improved that?
What I've done with them, I've made an insert for this individual learning plan, and it's really just a tick box questionnaire which really sort of meets the criteria that the providers wanted. But looking at it again, I should have used that really more as what it actually is, a learning plan, got out to the learners what they wanted to get out of the course, out of the sessions, rather than just treating it as a regulation that we have to
document. To emphasise the learning.
Okay.
Excellent. Excellent. So that was great. And then when we came back, I found that actually Jill was already self-evaluating, and it was a very easy process for me really, because she'd picked up all of her own strengths and weaknesses and was able to run through the video and identify really quite clearly what I maybe would have seen as significant and what happened within that session. And already she was starting to think about answering that question. And definitely learning was taking place, but she was starting to think about how that could be more formalised. So for me, the coaching approach worked really well with Gillian right from the beginning, and she was, well on board right from day one, really.
Okay, right. So what do you think about that when we get into the
main part of the lesson? What have you got for the development?
For the development, I've just put down it's a busy session.
Yeah, very busy.
Yes, lots of people coming and going. Yeah. It's a bit chaotic, a bit very informal and not really very structured. All the learners are doing different garments, different processes. The teaching strategy I use is mainly one-to-one, largely demonstration techniques.
If we can just focus in on that, on your demonstrations.
Yes.
How did you feel about the demonstrations that you were doing? Were you happy with those?
I think, looking at it, I'm far too deductive.
Right.
I'm telling them what they're doing, I'm seeing what they've done,
Yeah.
and each person I'm saying, right, next you need to do this and this, and
excellent.
demonstrating and doing it.
So what are you going to do about that then? That's easily rectified, isn't it? And what are you going to do about
Well,
that?
you say easily, it needs some work.
Okay.
The note that I made about that, basic Q&A was used with some learners. With this particular lady that we're watching now, with Judy to encourage her thinking about the length of her skirt. As the video goes on, with another lady asking her, you know, how she wanted to finish the waistband. But it really needs to be used much more often and to much better effect, really. Because at the minute, the kind of questioning I'm giving them is, you know, they're still right in the psychomotor domain. I'm asking them what they're going to do, but really I'm not establishing whether they know why they're doing it or what part it plays in the overall construction of the garment or the overall scheme of the course, you know.
I think this bit is actually probably classic of that.
Somebody asks me how do I do this, and I just take it from her and do it for her instead of, you know, talking her through it and looking around. Now, what we just saw there, if I can just rewind briefly,
sure.
I mean, that's just passes, just touches there. We'll have a learner there, standing, waiting, unable to get on with anything, and I'm constantly sort of thinking, I've got to get through this and get to the next one so that they can get going. I need to put something in place where they're always going to have something to do while they're waiting for me.
This is quite interesting, I think, with this learner.
If we have a look at yourself, and just at the other side where they've got
possible question and
That's
opportunity.
right. Missed it, didn't I? Yeah. That's it. I'm saying, oh, you've got that there. Instead of saying, look at this. Look at the diagram. What, you know, how can we put this right? Yeah, the question answer technique really needs a lot of looking at.
So if we look to summarise, what are the strengths?
Well, what I've put, shall I stop this for a moment?
Stop that for now. And if we look at the second part of the document, so if we look at the action plan, so go on to the other page.
Yeah, now on the action plan, under the strengths.
Loads of strengths in there. What are you really good at, Jill?
Subject knowledge.
Yeah, excellent subject knowledge, which really shines through.
And technical expertise regarding the way the machines work, that sort of thing.
I would agree.
Enthusiasm. I love what I'm doing, and I think that comes across with the learners.
Certainly.
Rapport with the learners. The feedback is always constructive and you know, positive. And clear demonstrations and instructions.
So there's a real good solid foundation there.
Yeah.
So the question was, are your students learning?
Yes, I think they are.
They are.
And I think
I think they certainly are learning, aren't they?
They are.
It's just about really formalising some of the processes and really, really drawing them out. So if we go back to the action plan, what's going to be your target for the next cycle? What do you want to look at?
Q&A technique.
Question and answer technique.
I mean, I've put Q&A technique, but really it's the whole approach.